wanted to just ask you about your Toronto Pearson Airport Terminal 1 job. It sounds like that was a really transformative project for the company. I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, when we were bidding that job, it was probably the biggest job that we had ever bid at the time. And back then, when we were bidding those types of projects, it was all like longhand. We didn't really use a computer at the time. I had gone through college at the time, and we were just starting to get, I guess, computerized for estimating and stuff like that. And so, when we were bidding that particular project, it was all longhand. And I remember going through the full SCAP and the printed paper and everything, and we came up with this number in the millions of dollars, and we were just like, wow, this seems like a lot, And when we put the bid in, and the next morning I came in and I said, Dad, I could hardly sleep a wink last night. I'm so excited. He said, son, I couldn't sleep a wink either, but it wasn't for the same reasons as you. So, anyway, we ended up being successful with the bid, and then we had to obviously do the project. And I basically, spent the next period of my life living at the airport. And we brought a portion of the whole entire company with us, including their service fleet, and we built a little temporary building down there. We serviced our own equipment down there on site, and the rest of the company kind of kept going about their business. And anytime they had a machine breakdown, they'd send it to the airport because we were working 12-hour days, and we'd work weekends, and so we just had a little bit more of a open door policy than back at the home base yard. So we ended up getting that job done on time and stuff like that, but it was mostly due to long hours and just, putting your head down and grinding it out. It wasn't a whole lot of, we did hire people, obviously, but there wasn't, we didn't have a lot of machines and stuff like that at the time that we could just go and buy and stuff like that. So, and it was a very successful project for us in the end, and it mostly gave us the confidence to go and start bidding bigger projects. I think that was the big thing that came out of it. We weren't, after that, there was no looking back.
Yeah, some of those huge early projects, the big portfolio jobs are really more about learning experience. They're not sort of the get rich on the first one. It's maturing the company. I remember I had a few, back at our last company, Forstall, where I remember there was one where we were diverting a small river, and I slept on that job site for about a week. I did not want those pumps to go off at nighttime, right? But the learnings that you get from those larger scale projects are super valuable.
Yeah, and then when we did the Terminal 1 project, we ended up taking it, like top-down method for the top 4 floors of the parking garage so we could reach it with our high-reach equipment. And then another project came out in downtown Toronto. So we got that project as well. So we basically took that crew of guys that were doing top-down, and we moved them, the mini excavators, the skid steers, the men, the post jacks, the engineered plan basically went to this other project, and we did very well at that one also, just because, again, we were very used to it. So the learning curve had sort of been done at the first project. So a lot of these projects, when you get them, if you get them like once a year, once every couple of years, it's something you've done before, but it's hard to sort of vault the learning curve early on, It just takes time sometimes.
You end up building a team that's kind of the resident expert in, that locale, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's what you're doing. Are there any other big jobs that stand out? I've got written down here: Maple Leaf Gardens, Rogers Center, the Expressway. I've loved watching the Gardner Expressway work on Instagram. Anything else?
Maple Leaf Gardens, the inside of that place, but also the Scotiabank Arena. It's we took down the old post office there for PCL. I was still pretty much in college at the time, so I was just graduating at the time when we were finishing up there, but I would come home on the weekends and work there. But that was, again, one of the bigger projects for us. It was I think it was maybe the second project we had done for PCL at the time. But the same thing, it was like, my father down there almost every Saturday trying to make sure that we were keeping the steam going, it's if you say, hey, do you guys want to work Saturday? And my dad would show up, they'd all show up, and if my dad didn't show up, then only 10 out of 20 would show up or something like that. So it just seemed like, and we just and then from there we just did a lot of those bigger projects. The one we just did at Rogers Center, same thing. We took out about 20,000 seats, and they don't want us to sell any of the seats. So, of course, but it doesn't say that in the contract. But I'm like, I don't think we should really upset the apple cart here for selling a seat for $50 or $60 or whatever it is. So, sometimes you just got to kind of play the game a little bit. But